The cold in Oymyakon doesn't feel like weather. It feels like a permanent, silent occupant of the house, a presence that settles into the log walls and steals the warmth from your bones with every open door. At minus 71 degrees Celsius, the air itself is a predator. A single ungloved hand on metal is a searing brand. A deep, unfiltered breath feels like shards of glass in the lungs. For the Yakov family, life is a series of calculated defenses against this cold, and the most complex, laborious, and cherished of these rituals is the weekly bath. For Anatoly, the father, the process began not on bath day, but days before, with the deep, resonant sound of an axe-splitting seasoned larch. The woodpile was their fortress, each log a brick in their wall against the infinite winter. On this morning, the designated day, the fire in the large tile-coated pechka, wood-burning stove, was not the gentle warmth for cooking or heating the main room. It was a roaring inferno, stoked relentlessly by Anatoly, until the heavy cast iron of the stove surface began to glow a dull, cherry red. The pechka was the heart of the home, and today it had to work harder than ever. Meanwhile, his wife, Irina, tasked their two children, Pyotr and Anya, with the chore of collecting the ingredients for the bath itself. Bundled in layers of reindeer fur and wool until they moved like cheerful waddling bears, they ventured outside. Their breath crystallized instantly, falling to the ground as a tiny shower of ice. They did not cut snow with knives, a common misconception, as snow at such temperatures is often dry and granular, but instead used large, deep buckets to scoop up the clean, upper layer snow from a designated drift. This was not a playful activity. It was a silent, focused task. Every minute outside was a risk. They would haul the heavy buckets back inside, where the snow would be left to melt near the stove into a secondary container, the first step in creating their bathwater. The core of the bathing ritual was the banya, a small, separate log structure adjoining the main house, a sacred space of heat and purification. But before anyone could enter it, it had to be transformed. For hours, Anatoly fed the massive stove inside the banya, the kamenka, heater stove, with the best, most heat-intensive wood. The goal was to heat the pile of stones atop the kamenka to an extreme temperature, often exceeding 500-600 degrees Celsius. This was a slow, dedicated process. A poorly heated banya was a wasted effort. While the banya stones absorbed their fiery energy, the water was prepared in the main house. The melted snow water, soft and pure, was poured into a large cast iron pot that sat inside a niche within the main house's pechka. It was brought to a rolling boil. This boiling water was crucial. It was not just for washing, it was for creating par, steam, the very soul of the Russian bath. They also prepared buckets of cold water, which would not stay liquid for long if left standing, to regulate the temperature later. Finally, after half a day of preparation, the family was ready. One by one, they would make the frantic 5-second dash from the main house to the banya, their bare feet crunching on the frozen ground, the cold so shocking it stole their breath. Inside the banya, the world changed. The air was still, hot and dry, smelling intensely of cedar and larch. The family would sit on wooden benches, acclimatizing, their heartbeats loud in the silence. The result was not just steam, but an explosive, sizzling wave of heat called a parovaya udar, a steam shock. The temperature would skyrocket instantly, the moist heat penetrating deep into their pores, coaxing out sweat they didn't know they could produce in such a climate. This was repeated several times, each wave a cleansing fire. Irina would then take a venik, a bundle of dried birch and cedar branches, soaked beforehand in warm water to make them pliable, and gently whip her children's backs and limbs. This was not punishment, it was a therapeutic massage. It improved circulation, exfoliated the skin, and released the fragrant, essential oils of the leaves, filling the banya with a sappy, clean aroma. The sound was a soft, rhythmic swishing against the backdrop of the sizzling stones. After enduring several rounds of this intense heat, the final, most exhilarating ritual awaited. Following the old Siberian tradition, Pyotr and Anya, squealing with a mix of terror and delight, would run outside and roll in the fresh snow, their bodies steaming violently in the minus 71-degree air. The contrast was extreme, a shock to the system believed to boost the immune system and invigorate the soul. For the adults, a quick, bracing rub down with a handful of snow sufficed. They would then rush back inside the bania to warm up again before finally washing their hair and bodies with the now cooled, soapy water. Returning to the main house, their skin flushed and glowing. They felt a profound, bone-deep cleanliness and a tired euphoria. They dressed in clean, warm clothes and sat together, sipping hot tea brewed from local herbs. The exhausting, day-long ordeal was more than just about getting clean. It was a communal triumph. It was a reaffirmation of their resilience, a ritual that connected them to generations of Siberians before them who had mastered the art of not just surviving, but finding profound warmth and purity in the coldest place on earth.